Okay, everybody, I was having a major issue here. I needed more time. So TikTok, TikTok has completely stopped on me. So I was, Mr. Producer, play the video because I'm done. I'm almost to the point where
Fans of Bishop James Long, the renowned exorcist and paranormal expert on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. Now you can carry his wisdom with you. Our Bishop James Long collection features blessed apparel such as St. Benedict hats and tees, as well as home items to protect and inspire. Elevate your spiritual journey. Go to kgradb.com/shop and discover the Bishop James Long merch today.
okay, I'm trying to fix everything, guys. I can't, it's almost,
Are you sure it's not what? Are you want me to hang out for a bit?
No, it just no. It's the what it is. It is the TikTok. Just this guy decided to stop all of a sudden, just completely stop for no reason at all.
You sure it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
because you're at a certain place right now?
No. I just it's what it is there's so much that goes into putting this together.
Yes.
One little hiccup screws everything up, and it's just too damn much. So, and I am burning up. So now I'm going to have to fix this and try to figure out what the hell happened.
While you do that, I'm just gonna let you. You want me to bring you down for a minute while I talk about stuff?
Bring it down and just chat for a little bit.
Wave to me in the background when you're ready. So here, I already had, like, of course, when we're together, and hello to everybody that's watching. He's currently on that ship, the Queen Mary. And he said it's been very interesting since he's been there. So I believe he stayed overnight last night. And already, I can't wait to hear what he has to say, because it seems like he's had quite a bit of activity and things going on during his stay there. So we're going to find out. I just want to say hello to everybody that's watching. And I see Suzanne in there and all the folks on this platform. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with TikTok at the moment, but I'm sure he'll. And Monstar says it's one of the most famously haunted ships in the world. Remember, Bishop, just wave to me when you're ready, because I can see you backstage. And hello to Isa Ann and Janet, Christine. So you guys get to see Mr. Producer. Also, make sure to check out his website, like he always mentions when he's on the air, which it's bishopjameslong.com. I'm going to bring his website up on the screen here now. And of course, the church's website, usocc.org. So make sure to go there. There's a lot of important information on that site as well. And please, if you can, support the cause of his merchandise. And he mentions this all the time. He says, you could ask Mr. Producer, all the proceeds that would normally go to him are going to the MKS Kids Foundation. So it's for a great cause. I've known Bishop for years now. You have no idea how selfless of an individual he is. He does everything for the cause. Like I said, I know him on a personal level, and the self-sacrifices that he makes, and he won't call it that because it's his duty as in his role. But during a certain period of time a few years ago, when no one else wanted to go out there and do that work for the ministry, he did. That's the kind of man he is. So he is an incredible human being. It's an honor and a blessing to be his friend, and he's waving. I think he's ready. So let's find out. You good?
I'll tell you what, it's cray.
Still?
That's the thing. I mean, there are wires everywhere.
Would you like to see my house?
There is no, but for me, I mean, the
I
thing
know, I know.
also is this is a really tight spot.
Yes.
This is a really tight space. But this was really the only, this was the best bet. But it just these are things going to happen. It's going to happen. And when you do these live shows like this, nothing is perfect, and it's not like people are paying big bucks for it anyway. So
Well,
give me a
if
break.
you want, once you're on the air, I can go on my TikTokers
We're
and
on
let it.
TikTok now.
Oh, you are.
Yep. We're
Oh,
live
good.
on TikTok.
So I guess we're ready to start the show officially. So did you?
Let's go ahead and let's get this started and
All
rocking
right.
and
I want
rolling.
to ask you: did you have a really interesting stay so far there?
Yes, it's been a very interesting stay. And when we get into the presentation, we're going to give all kinds of interesting, really interesting. Let me fix that because it was driving me crazy. Stories.
Oh,
And I think you guys are going to like it. So hopefully you guys can hear. I'm not answering any bullshit Inquisition stuff. Just go to usocc.org. We're not
yeah.
doing that here.
I
We're done.
already went through the rundown where
We're done.
people can find your stuff. But
we're just,
I'm going to grab some munchies now. And
yeah.
I'm going to watch like everybody else because I am really curious to see your experience over there at the Queen Mary. So
Okay, then we're gonna
See
rock
you
and
then.
roll. So I'll wait till you give you some time to come back and get your little food and all that other stuff. So, all right, everybody. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to allow people on TikTok to destroy this show because thank you very much because a lot of work has gone into it, and I will not allow the trolls to disrupt it. Goodbye, trolls. Okay, so here we are. Welcome. I am on the ship right now. As you can tell. Um, I know the sound may not be like it normally is, and that's okay. That's okay. First of all, thank you very much for the gift. Hopefully, you guys can hear. I'm using this microphone instead of the other one, and hopefully, you guys can hear. Thank you. And keep in mind, I am using the Wi-Fi here on the ship, and I'm pretty far away from the office. So I'm surprised, to be honest with you. I'm surprised it's streaming as nicely as it is. So sub chat is now on TikTok, and it will remain on because people can't behave. Let me know if the music is too loud for TikTok. Great, thank you very much. Good. Because if the music is too loud, just give me a holler. And you guys on Facebook and everyone else, let me know if it's too loud too, because I have no way of knowing. All right, good. First, before we get into this presentation, I have to thank Judy Ann. Judy Ann serves as the executive producer of this. Uh, I mean, it's this is a big. When you're doing productions like this, when you do documentaries. Well, thank you very much. When you do documentaries, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And one thing that we never do is we don't throw something together and just call it quits and say, "Oh, this is what you get." No, if it's not done professionally, then we don't do it, or I don't do it. That's just because I have extreme OCD. So, of course, not only that, but I'm also representing the church. And so when we create these documentaries, we want them to be as good as we can possibly make it. So before we do this presentation, I want to thank Judy Ann. Judy Ann is not only a very dear friend of mine, I consider her a family member. And I tell you, she is serving the executive producer of this entire thing. And anyone who knows who stays in room B340, that is not cheap. That is not cheap. B340 is unbelievably expensive. And not only that, but now that I stayed one night in B340, I'm going to tell you about that. But I'm also now staying in this room, which is a nice room. It's a stateroom for until Sunday. And that way, the goal is this. We're going to do thank you guys, two documentaries, two of them. The first documentary will be on room B340, and I'll tell you all about that. And then the next documentary is going to be on the Queen Mary itself. So I want to again give a shout out to Judy Ann and thank her very, very much for doing this. And thank you for all of you, all of those of you who've donated to the Cash App to help with the little miscellaneous expenses. That's very kind of you guys. Well, hello there. Well, Bishop Greer, thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, everybody, let's get into the presentation. First, I'm Bishop Long. And the most important thing that I want you to do, if you would, is go to the website KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com, KGRADB.com. When you go to KGRADB, you're going to find some pretty amazing things. First, you're going to find, I want you to click on the shop link. And there you go. So you can click on that shop link. It's KGRADB.com. And just click on the shop link. And then I want you to click on my name. And when you do that, a product page is going to come up. And they sell some amazing, amazing products. Yeah, we're back. Some amazing, it's the $, and it's all one word, Bishop James Long. So if you go on to kgradb.com and click on the shop link, and also, well, thank you, and click on my name, we are partnering up with our friends, the MKS Kids Foundation. It is an orphanage that is in Uganda. And 100% of the profits, 100%, thank you, is going to go to our friends, our friends in Uganda, 100%. So we just truly believe, well, hello there. Just a bishop who needs an exorcism here. I tell you what, I feel it too. I feel it too. And make sure you follow my friend Bishop Greer. He's in TikTok. He just said howdy too. Make sure you follow him. He's a guy with a great big huge heart, and we need that more than ever in this world. Okay, so go to kgradb.com. Click on that, guys. I can't control if it's freezing. I can't. It's the Wi-Fi. Now, what I want you to do also is go to my website if you're really bored, bishopjameslong.com. And that's fine if you want to go over there. And then the church's website, usocc.org. Okay. So there we are. That is the business aspect of it. Now let's get into the presentation. I do know right now that it's streaming fine on the other social media platforms, just to give you guys a heads up. So I run it on Book to the Face and that kind of thing. So it's streaming pretty okay right now there. All right, but it may buffer. So Judy Ann had contacted me and asked me if I went, we talked about the Queen Mary ship and asked if I would consider, maybe we can go there and let's do a documentary. And I thought, why not? That's I think it'd be a fantastic, it would be a great experience. And so I showed up, and I got to tell you something, guys, this ship, yeah, it is a very interesting ship. When I flew in to LA, and you have to kind of drive around the port. And when I saw it on the left-hand side, I thought, my gosh, it was much bigger than I thought. It's the Queen Mary is twice as big as the Titanic. And when I pulled in, I thought, this is unbelievable. How are we going to put a documentary on this? It's so majestic. And so I thought, okay, I pulled in there, and I got to say, first of all, the people here, the employees, are phenomenal. They are absolutely top notch. They have been really great from the step foot in here. They've been incredibly accommodating. So the first night, I checked into a hotel, and then I came here, and I stayed the night in room B340. This is the most haunted room in the entire ship. Now, look, I've been in the paranormal field for 35 years. I've been to a lot of locations. I never really knew how big this place was as far as how many people talk about it. So I go into room B340, and I'll explain what B340 is in just a second. And it was a beautiful. The decor is definitely looks 1930s. They tried to even bring in original items that were from that period, and it just kind of brought you walk into like a time portal. That's what it felt like. So I am there, and I really didn't unpack because I have 3 massive bags full of stuff that I have to do for the show and things. So, but I have, the bags there, and I just opened the door. It was a little hot in that room, so I just opened the door. People would go by this room nonstop and just peek around the corner because they were so intrigued. Is this B340 as haunted as they say it is? So I opened the door and I told them, well, come on in. And they looked at me like I was a 3-headed monster because they couldn't believe, because I guess it's not normal that someone rents the room, because it is very expensive to rent, and then invites the people, just come on and take a look at it, because it's a very exclusive group of people that stay there because of the price. And so when, people walk by and say, well, just let's go. And they would come in and they were just enthralled. And I thought, wow, it's a beautiful, first of all, it was a great way to build a little community here, but they were so enthralled. I cannot tell you how many people walk away so happy that they were actually got inside the room, because most of the time the room is always locked. So when you go into the room, and you'll see this in the documentary, as soon as you go in, there is a bed. And then to the right is a bathroom. You go around the corner and there is a sitting area. And it's a sitting area from a couch, definitely from the 1930s. And over to the left is the doors there. And then in the back is like a small little closet space. Now not me, they, meaning the ship here, has a Ouija board there, tarot cards, a crystal ball that people use, and people do that. But I tell you, the pictures in that room, you'll see it. You'll see it in the documentary. It reminded me very much of, and I hate to say this, but it reminded me of that movie in the Appalachian Mountains, da 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 da. I forgot what it's called. Well, Beatty was in it, but it kind of it was just weird. There's one particular picture that was, I don't know what the hell it was. It was a very strange feeling in that room. I did get some FLIR activity on my thermal cam. I also, so when we were live on TikTok, Deliverance Thank you. We were live on TikTok last night, and I used the Ovilus. And the Ovilus is a machine that is able to pick up frequency that we are unable to hear. That is the theory, that they can pick up these sounds. And many times it said James, priest, hot, and it would laugh, ha ha. Now that's not programmed into the Ovilus because it was hot in the room. And when you capture things like this, or even sentences, those are the things that's like, okay, this is pretty cool stuff. So that did it a lot, it would say. And matter of fact, there was one person that was there, one of the individuals who was walking past the room, and I invited them in, and it gave her mom's name. And so we got quite a bit of evidence on the Ovilus, a lot. Hello, everybody. So that was pretty spectacular. The EVPs, we got some EVPs, and you will have to wait. The EVPs, yeah, there was something there, without question. The Class A EVPs. Now there were some EVPs that I could not use because of sound interference, because in the parking lot they have some like little fair going on, and there was some banging, but later on they stopped, and so the sound interference wasn't the issue at all. So I was able to do EVP, where EVP is electronic voice phenomena, is with a digital recorder. And I captured um, a very, well, you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait. It was clearly something was there. Now, so let's do this presentation, but that wasn't the big thing. I talked to my sister today, and I told her what happened when I was sleeping. And my sister and I said, that was pretty cool, actually. And my sister said, okay, we're not from the same womb. There's no way. She said that I would have freaked out. And I'm telling you now that I experienced something in that room. It wasn't aggressive, but I know for a fact that there was something in that room with me. And this is what happened after my presentation. So you guys will have to wait. And it's a teaser. It's a teaser. I'm going to tell you. But first, let me give you my presentation for tonight on the Queen Mary. And then I'm going to tell you what happened to me when I was sleeping. It was very, very cool. And I'll tell you. Yeah. Okay. So here's the lecture, everybody. I always do a presentation, and this is it. Those of you just joining, I'm Bishop Long, and we're at the Queen Mary, one of the most haunted ships in the entire world. And I stayed in the room in room B340. And so the most haunted room in the entire ship. Okay, folks, the Queen Mary, it's a vessel that once cut through the Atlantic waters like a shimmering, thank you, silver arrow. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, endless ocean and under a painted sky in hues of dawn and dusk. And this was the world in which the Queen Mary was born. So for those of you joining, I'm giving you a presentation on the Queen Mary, some history, I was able to speak to several people who had some pretty profound experiences. And I'm going to teach you that in this lecture here. And then after the lecture, I'm going to tell you what happened to me. So in 1936, when the ship first set sail from Southampton, England, built with a promise of opulence and adventure, a marvel of engineering, the Queen Mary is more than a ship. She was a floating palace, a glittering testament to luxury, glamour, and human ingenuity. Oh, it was, well, it is like the Titanic, but actually this was twice the size of the Titanic. So I'm in my room now. I'm in the stateroom here. And with her sleek chromed plated exterior and polished wood decks, she shimmered like a jewel across the waves. I talked to some of the captain here, and he would describe that people would say that that's what slow like a jewel across the waves. Anyway, inside the velvet-lined lounges, gilded fixtures, and dazzling chandeliers sparkled under the glow of crystal lamps, which are beautiful. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you very much. Passengers whispered about the ship's grandeur as if it was a floating city of dreams. I got to tell you, you can easily get lost in this ship. It was easily. But beneath her elegant veneer, dark stories lured. See, war was on the horizon in this era in the 1930s. The Queen Mary's destiny was about to change forever. So when World War II erupted, the ship's fate was sealed. So the luxuries liner was transformed into a colossal troop ship. Her luxurious cabins and grand ballrooms repurposed into vast holding pens for soldiers heading to the front lines. Now her stunning decks, once filled with laughter and dance, now echoed with hurried footsteps of thousands of soldiers. That was her new purpose, an essential cog in the machinery of war. And over the next few years, the Queen Mary crossed the Atlantic countless times under the ominous shadow of war. Her once glamorous face was scarred with scars of conflict, and yet she carried on, steady, unyielding, thank you. Her decks soaked with the hopes and fears and sacrifices of those on board. In 1947, after years of service, The ship was retired from wartime duty, but her scars and stories hidden beneath the veneer of peace. Thank you, guys. She was refitted once more, and this time as a luxury cruise liner. The belle of the ocean, that's what they called her, and meant to bring glamour back to the seas. And passengers flocked to her elegant salons, and she was once again a symbol of hope and adventure. But even amidst the restored beauty, whispers began to circulate, tales of unexplained phenomena, scary stories, shadowy figures seen in the hallways, cold spots in the most glamorous suites. Guests and staff whispered about something darker beneath the surface, and an echo of tragedies that could never quite be silenced. Well, after years passed, the Queen Mary's legacy grew darker, and tales of death, sudden accidents, restless spirits haunted her corridors. And visitors and crews alike sensed something watching, something that just refused to rest. And she became a legend, a ghost ship that still sails through the mist of time. And so the Queen Mary now rests in Long Beach, California. It's interesting. I asked one of the crew members why. How did it end up here? It was this Queen Mary was fitted in England. So it was named after Queen Mary. So why is a Queen Mary boat, and a boat that was made for England by England, why is it sitting in Long Beach? I didn't understand that. I didn't want to, I wanted to come in with complete open mind and no information on this ship. And what I found out is they purposely placed this ship here during World War II because a certain individual in Germany had his mind set that he needed to destroy this ship because this ship is so large. Remember, it's twice the size of the Titanic and quite fast, that it was, sailing troops to the front lines. So this ship was on the target to be destroyed. So in order to maintain this ship and not have it destroyed, because the cost was quite expensive, they had it ported here, and it's remained here. The Queen Mary is owned by Long Beach, so the city owns it. So let's talk about her true story. It's only just beginning, because beneath her polished decks, something still lingers. It's a presence that refuses to fade into depths. Now let's talk about one of the most amazing rooms, B340, a room that I stayed in last night. And deep within the bowels of the Queen Mary, hidden away from the glitz and the glamour, lies a room that's cloaked in darkness and dread, many people think. So if you listen closely, you can almost hear the whispers, the murmurs of restless spirits that refuse to rest. So this room was once a stately guest room, a haven for travelers seeking comfort before their voyage or after a night of revelry. Something changed, something dark, unseen. So it was early 1966 when the ship's crew first recorded strange happenings in B340. The story spread like wildfire among the staff, tales of unexplained phenomena that turned routine stayovers into nightmares. So guests waking up suddenly in the dead of night, feeling an icy wave of cold that dripped through the very fabric of their dreams. Shadows flickering at the edge of their vision, only to vanish when they turned to look. I saw a full body apparition in that room. When I was doing a live on TikTok, I was looking at the camera, speaking to them, and I stopped, and to my left was a full body apparition. And I even told them, I said, it looked like a mist, but I clearly saw the 5'5" woman, and it was right by the bed, and it just faded away. So a shadow was flickering at the edge of their vision, only to vanish when they turned to look. Whispers carried on the air, so faint, so ghostly, that they dismissed them as the ship's creaks and groans. Also, When I went in there and I first put my bags on, on the floor there to unpack a little bit, I heard it was clear, absolutely clear on the door that opens to go into the room. You got to understand, it's not a big, it's not a big suite, I wouldn't say, but so the bed was maybe 7 feet away from the actual door. So I'm at right there by the bed and with my back turned to the door, and I look around immediately. There's nothing there. The door was open. So the door it wasn't shut, because I was thinking if the door was shut, it could have been someone playing tricks or whatever. It was open. I immediately turned around, saw nothing. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Okay. So one of the most chilling reports, listen to this, guys, came from a guest. Her name was Margaret. She was from Denver. And she checked into a B340 after a long day of sightseeing, exhausted, eager for sleep. But as midnight approached, her peaceful mind shattered. She awoke to the feeling of being watched. And when she opened her eyes, she saw a pale figure standing at the foot of the bed. I saw that figure. A woman dressed in old-fashioned nightgown, her face obscured, but her eyes filled with sorrow. I didn't see her eyes. I was sitting here and she was facing this way. So I didn't see her eyes. She was facing forward. But I saw that. And Margaret's scream was muffled by the ghostly apparition, who then just disappeared. Suddenly she has appeared. And that's what happened. When daylight arrived, Margaret demanded to be relocated. Her experience became the first in a long line of terrifying encounters. I don't think that's terrifying. I thought it was pretty cool. We were live on TikTok when I saw that. Several crew members have sworn that the room is a nexus for inexplicable energy, a place where the veil between the worlds is paper thin. Now, then there's the legend that the room was once the site of tragedy, perhaps a sudden death, or perhaps a doomed soul trapped in suffering. Now, many believe that the room's dark history is etched into the very walls, making it a magnet for spirits seeking justice or resolution. Most unsettling of all are the nightly reports of knocks, soft, deliberate. Many people say it's strange hours of the night. That only knocked once for me, as if someone or something is trying to communicate. And guests who've heard these knocks have described feeling a cold presence, one that seeps into their bones. I didn't experience that. I did experience the knocking. The most chilling part, as if that's not enough, most guests who experience these phenomena check out early. Now, I want you to understand this, guys. Listen to me very carefully. B340, it's not cheap to stay there. It's quite pricey. And people are so terrified that they go to the front desk and they say, put me in another room. I don't care. I'm not staying in this room again. I want a smaller room if you have it. They don't want to be in that room. So, yeah, that's that end of it. So let me fix this real quick. There you go. Okay. Now, but their stories don't end with checkouts. They end with a sense of something unwelcome, unseen, profoundly haunting. And so B340 remains what used to remain sealed, locked away behind paint and glass, a forbidden chamber where the restless spirits stir. Because what happened is so many people were complaining that they had to lock it off and not rent it out. Thank you. Because they were upset. Shadowed memories dwell within those haunted walls, no question. Memories that refuse to let go. Now, let me talk to you about some of the personal encounters. I'll tell you my personal encounter later, the one that really was, I thought, really cool. Really cool. But, and I'll tell you that later, I promise you. But throughout the years, countless guests and staff have found themselves face to face with the unseen. Their stories are chilling, their memories vivid. Some even believe their experiences have forever altered their lives. No, 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 no. This isn't residual energy because these type of spirits are actually communicating, interacting. So let me take you inside a few of the encounters that I have found, and I've spoken to many of the staff, a lot of them. And let me share some of these stories with you guys. They're profound. And the real unfiltered experiences that turn sleep, terror, and hope into dread. Listen to these. So this is how the one crew member described this story. It was a quiet summer night. We'll just call her Sarah. She was a young woman from Texas. She booked an overnight stay aboard the Queen Mary. She was eager to soak in the ship's history, maybe catch a glimpse of something otherworldly. But she didn't expect what she had or would have experienced. It was pretty startling for her. Sound of sheets, or like rustling. As Sarah settles into her bed, it sounded like sheets rustling. And she told thank you very much. She told the crew members that she closed her eyes, she couldn't sleep. And then she felt this freezing cold, like icy fingers grabbing her ankles. She opened her eyes, and there in the dim moonlight filtering through the porthole, she said, a shadow, tall and dark, standing at the foot of her bed. She said it just stared at her. And its eyes were hollow. Thank you, guys. Thank you. A black void. She couldn't move or scream. She felt paralyzed as it slowly faded into the wall. And then when she finally got the courage to sit up, the shadow was gone. But the coldness, she said, stayed with her. And she checked out very early the next morning. Again, for those of you just tuning in, I appreciate you guys being here. I'm Bishop Long, and I'm giving my presentation on the Queen Mary, the ship that I'm on right now, right here in Los Angeles. And we're having a great time sharing some of these experiences. Thank you very much. And just giving my little lecture, and then I'll tell you my experience that I had in a moment, besides the knocking. Another crew member told me there was a gentleman named John. He was actually a former crew member, and he will say John is his name to, for privacy. But he recounts an experience that still haunts him. So John told the crews, that his friends, his other workers, that he was walking down the deck. It's beautiful. Doing his rounds, and when he said, he told, and this is his words, I saw her. It's an old woman dressed in a Victorian gown, standing in the shadows of the hallway. Her face looked painted, he said, her eyes filled with sorrow. And she turned slowly, looked right at him, disappeared. He said he spun around trying to find her, but she was gone. And that's when he said he knew he wasn't alone, that there's something about the presence that stays with you, like she's begging for answers. And the paint that he's referring to, many people see this woman, it looked like she'd been crying, like her makeup had been running. Now, there's been a lot of EVPs captured here. Technology has caught glimpses of the supernatural. Several researchers and guests have reported strange disembodied voices. Disembodied voices are voices that you can actually hear with your ears. An EVP, you can't. It's on a voice recorder. That disembodied voices, that whisper in languages or phrases that didn't make sense to them. There was a crackling of recording devices, a ghostly voice, a whisper EVP that was captured once. One EVP that an individual captured said, leave now. So, and some have captured voices begging for release. Others swear that they've heard friendly words, but when they replay these recordings, they find nothing. but unintelligible whispers. My friends, I have some EVPs that I captured, and you can hear. They are Class A EVPs. And I'm not going to tell you what they are, because that's for the documentary that we're going to be putting together. But they are pretty cool. There is Class A. Class A EVP. You got Class A, B, and C. Class A, you can clearly hear it. Like you're hearing me. You absolutely. Class B, you can hear it, but you have to listen. It's a little distorted. And Class C, you know that something is there, but you really can't make it out. So there's another family that was that came here, and one of the crew members told me that one of the most disturbing stories came from a family that decided to spend a night in B340. And we'll just call her Emily. She said that we were all asleep. They were all asleep when suddenly she woke up and saw a figure standing by the window. It looked like a young boy, about 8 years old, with bright eyes and a pale face. I called out to him, but he just stared, and then he vanished into thin air. The next morning, we could not find any logical explanation, and the boy's face haunted her, she says. They packed up and left, unable to stay another minute in the room. They left. So many people are sending me, okay, here's what I'm going to say. One of the EVPs, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There are children laughing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It is very clear. It is, when I played it back, I thought, oh, dear God. It was, that's all I'm going to say. It was pretty cool. No one laughed. Are you hearing people laughing? Yeah. Thank you, please. And you guys might, by the way, you guys may, oh wow, you may hear. I mean, this room is quite haunted as well. So these are just a few countless stories that continue to circulate about the Queen Mary. And guests arrive filled with excitement, only to leave shaken and frightened. Not me. I'm like, woo, bring it on. Convinced that some part of the ship, remains rooted in a bygone era of the tragedy. Now, throughout the years, skeptics and believers alike have pondered, what could have explained the eerie phenomena of the Queen Mary. Is there a rational, scientific explanation? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Thank you very much. This is what I will absolutely say with 100% certainty. When I was in room B340 and I captured children laughing, I did not hear any children. It was silent. I mean, completely silent where I was. That time I had the door shut, curtains pulled. I did not hear any children at all laughing near my door, near the hallway. It was silent. So based on that and that alone, I can pretty much conclude that that was a legitimate EVP, because you have to be careful with interference, noise interference. There was no noise interference with this one. So, I mean, many people, children laughing. Many people ask, is there a rational scientific explanation? Thank you, please. Are we merely glimpsing into something beyond our understanding? Or, as with many haunted locations, the truth often lies somewhere in the middle, between intertwined with science. So one of the most popular scientific theories suggests that the Queen Mary is, in fact, a massive repository of residual energy. So let me explain this. A lot of people, some call it with psychic recording of past events. Think of it like this: half-forgotten tape recorder that keeps replaying fragments of its tragedy-filled history. When you're talking about the theory of residual energy, there's no intellect, there's no will. It's just repeating itself. They don't know that you're there. They're not aware. It's just a repetition. If you've ever gone to an old building and you feel that energy, that's residual energy. Now that's different than an intellect or an intelligent haunting, where they know, they are aware that you're there and they try to communicate with you. So the ship's past, tragic past, wars, sudden deaths, moments of despair, thank you, may have imprinted traumatic energy into our very fabric. That a lot of people say that the impressions might linger, replaying over and over again, creating that what witnesses describe as ghostly apparitions, cold spots, inexplicable sounds. I experienced cold spots. There were two, a couple there that I met at the very end of the night. They're very, very kind. And it was hot. It was 76, 77 or so in the room. So it was warm all day. But when we were there and we were talking about some of the experiences, I mean, I got cold chills. I mean, I could see the hair standing on my arm, and that was pretty. That was a pretty cool experience. So, I mean, the impressions might linger, replaying over and over again, creating what witnesses describe as ghostly apparitions, cold spots, inexplicable sounds. So, I'll get your questions. I promise you. I promise you, I'll get to them. Now, EMF, sensory perception. I will say this. Another explanation involves electromagnetic fields. So, I have what's called a REM pod. A REM pod is a very cool item. Well, I have it in the other room there, but you hold it, you put it on the thing, and it will make all kinds of noise. I can go get it if you want me to. Let me see. Let me Well, no, I don't want to get it. I don't want to because I don't. It'll mess up all the sound. But it's a REM pod, REM. You can look that up. But it went off twice, and it was on. We actually had it on, yeah, proximity meter. A proximity meter. That's what I mean. We had it on live on TikTok, and it went off twice. And that does not go off at all unless there is some type of disturbance, electrical disturbances, energy. It's very sensitive, and I went off twice, which is really really cool. Now, an EMF, electromagnetic. I didn't get electronic. I didn't get anything. It's terrible to say it, but I didn't. So the electromagnetic EMF, yeah, there was nothing there, nothing. There was no fluctuations, and so for me, the EMF was just useless. However, at one time, I did do a temperature change. Remember, I did it was on TikTok, and I showed it was like 76 degrees on my digital thermometer, and I said, "Is there anyone here? Can you make a noise? Can you walk to that light? If you walk to the light, it won't hurt you, but I'll be able to see clearly if there's some type of change in temperature." 76, 74, 72, 69, 66. That's profound. That is profound. So, because number one, I made sure that I did a baseline reading. It was on the carpet. This was away from the air conditioning vent. Besides the air conditioning didn't stop. It kept going. So for me to have that type of 10-degree difference, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. So a lot of people have EMF readings on this. Now, many people have described a sleep paralysis episodes. Again, there's a lot of people just tuning in, so just indulge me for a moment. So I'm Bishop Long, everybody. I stay the night in the most haunted room on the Queen Mary ship in Los Angeles, and I am in Long Beach, California, and I stayed the night in B340 last night, and we're doing our Paranormal Friday show as we normally do, and I'm still on the ship. I will be here until Sunday. I'm in another stateroom that also is supposed to be haunted. Many people have seen a woman in a gown, in a 1930s, 1940s gown here in this room. So I'm looking forward to doing an investigation here as well. Now, there have been a lot of people, the Queen Mary ship, a lot of people have had paranormal encounters on the Queen Mary occur in the middle of the night. And very eerie coincidence given what we know about sleep. Well, thank you there, Raleigh. So sleep paralysis, a phenomenon where a person awakens but is unable to move, often accompanied by terrifying hallucinations. Now, let me just make this clear. Sleep paralysis doesn't always mean it's demonic. So let's make that clear. I had a neurosurgeon on the show several years ago, and he said that if you have a lot, what's called recurrent isolated sleep paralysis, which is RISP, you should really get tested for narcolepsy. And that he's a neurosurgeon. Sleep paralysis is quite easy to understand after I spoke to him on the show. So basically, the part of your body that dreams is the subconscious. Subconscious. So like when you're sleeping, you're breathing, you're still breathing, your subconscious, the brain is doing it. Well, the part of your brain that dreams is the subconscious. And so what happens is if you awaken, you're startled, you're still in the subconscious stage, if you will. And if you're having a dream and you weren't aware of it, the subconscious is projecting an image. It could be scary, it can be terrifying, horrifying. You can't move because ultimately you're catatonic. So, and that usually lasts about 30 seconds or so. And it's terrifying because you can't move, you can't scream, you can't call for help. That doesn't necessarily mean it's demonic at all. So let me make that very clear. All sleep paralysis, people say that all sleep paralysis are demonic. It is not. It is simply not true. Here's where it becomes demonic. This is how you tell. If you're only having issues, and it's still scary, but if you're only having issues when you are going to sleep and you have this projection of this image, or you are waking up from sleeping and you have this image and it lasts for 30 seconds and it disappears, and you have no other activity in your home, that is sleep paralysis. And it's quite common, far more common than you may think. Here's where it gets tricky as far as knowing whether it's demonic. When it's a demonic infestation, can a sleep paralysis episode be demonic? Sure, yeah, absolutely. But you're going to have other manifestations throughout the day. And also, I've had cases where people have had a sleep paralysis episode, but they were completely wide awake. And they saw this figure, this ghastly figure, and they were able to move. They were able to talk. They were able to scream for help. So that's a bit different. But a lot of people experience sleep paralysis, especially in B340. Many people have described the beginning stages of sleep paralysis where they couldn't move and they saw this image. And what happens is your conscious takes control of the brain and then the image disappears. It's very common. But what happens in many of these stories that people have told the crew here is it starts as a sleep paralysis episode where they can't move. Then after 30 seconds, they're able to move and the image is still there. Now that is frightening. I mean, imagine lying in your bed, paralyzed with a cold sense and presence looming just beyond your vision. Your mind, still partly asleep, creates terrifying images, shadowy figures, ghostly apparitions, and you feel as if you're being watched or even touched. Now, but what if some of the spirits still linger because of something deeper, something tragic or unresolved? Many people believe that violent deaths, sudden accidents, or unfinished businesses to tether a spirit to the physical world. The ship's history is filled with stories of lives cut short, passengers falling overboard, workers meeting untimely end, soldiers passing away during wartime. And to these spirits, their stories remain unfinished. They cling to the places, rooms, corridors, decks. Some researchers propose that these spirits are not necessarily haunting in the traditional sense, but are residual echoes, imprints of emotional trauma, pain, fear. They continue to replay over and over like a tragic film reel stored within the ship's walls. Now, despite all the scientific theories, some phenomena defy explanation. Could there be a dimension beyond our perception, an unseen realm that overlaps with our own? Many paranormal experts suggest that the spirits are conscious entities, beings from even another dimension or plane who can interact with the world under certain conditions. I don't know about so much about that. I want to talk about the pool, Queen Mary Pool. Guys, this was crazy. And yeah, I'm going to go for hopefully about maybe another half an hour or so on this lecture. Obviously, I really wanted to put a lot of work into the lecture because I want you to know the history of this place because it's fascinating. I couldn't get in the pool area, and that is because it really is off limits because it's just not open. And so I was going to do a documentary on that, but that's okay. I'm going to tell you about the pool. Pool, pool. That's my Kentucky accent coming through. Pool, a pool, Pool, not pole, pool. All right. The pool is not just a pool; it is a shrine. Here's what I mean by it. It was once the jewel of the Queen Mary's interior. The first class swimming pool, constructed in 1936 when the ship was commissioned. The room was more than a place for leisure. It was a palace below the sea, a chamber carved in the Art Deco style, dripping in opulence and beautiful. Back then, nothing about the Queen Mary was ordinary. And the pool, that pool room proved it. Imagine standing in the pool nearly a century ago, a time when the ship had just set sail on her maiden voyage. The ceilings above shimmered with gold-toned lighting fixtures. And I've seen some pictures, they're beautiful. Thank you. Sunlight poured in through stained glass portholes, cascading like liquid fire to the pool's surface. The water heated and filtered with technology decades ahead of its time, gently lapped against the marble lip, and even the walls were lavish. They had hand-laid tiles imported from Italy, blue and emerald green, arranged in like a hypnotic geometric way. It was beautiful. Every inch was polished, every detail designed to impress, and only the wealthiest were permitted to be there. Royalty, diplomats, Hollywood elites. And it was there among the echoes of laughter and champagne bubbles that the ship's most distinguished passengers came to swim and flirt. Forget the world outside. But beauty has a way of hiding darkness. You see, ships, especially those with long lives, become more than vessels. They absorb things, memories, emotion, sometimes even tragedy. Some say the first class pool has absorbed more than its fair share. There are no official records of any deaths there, so no public incidents, no headlines, but rumors began almost immediately. Thank you. Stories whispered among the stewards, the maids, the officers working below. A woman in her 30s, dressed in a vintage bathing suit, was said to have slipped at the pool's edge one night in 1948. No one saw it happen, only that her body was found the next morning. Neck twisted, eyes still wide with shock. The story was covered up, allegedly. No passenger logs listed as death that week. No reports were filed. Well, then there was the tale of the little girl, the most famous of them all. She had a name once, and some say Jackie. She was playful, energetic, always smiling, thank you, until one evening she wandered too close to the deep end. By the way, and I'm going to take a picture and show it a little bit later on probably on TikTok. There is a store here called Jackie's Store. It is a spiritualist store. Spiritualism, all kinds of spiritual things. Really cool place. And then there's I went there and I saw it yesterday, and that was really neat. So she was again playful until one evening she wandered too close to the deep end. The pool was crowded. No one noticed that she had fallen. No one noticed that she didn't come up. And when they found her, it was too late. But again, no record. Nothing in the Queen Mary's official archive confirms any such event. Yet somehow everyone knows her name. There's something about that, something unsettling. The ship refuses to acknowledge these deaths, but the stories persist. It's as if the Queen Mary herself is keeping secrets, and secrets hidden beyond the gold trim mosaic tile, secrets sealed beneath the polished marble and silent water. Yet, something about that place feels unfinished. The pool hasn't held waters in decades. The filtration system was decommissioned a long time ago. The diving board removed. Stairs rusted in place. But the air still tastes of salt and chlorine, people say when they go there. The room still smells wet. People have described it. And no matter how many times it's closed, it never seems empty. Visitors have reported hearing water splashing, even though the pool is dry. They've heard footsteps at the edge, voices, a soft sob behind the locked dressing doors. And how many of those voices belong to those whose stories were never written down? How many still linger? Whatever happened there, the walls remember. The Queen Mary remembers. The pool is a place where time doesn't pass normally, people say, where events repeat themselves. I want to talk a little bit about the Queen Mary itself. Is just beautiful. It's a ship of steel, but it breathes like something alive. And nowhere does it breathe more deeply in the pool. The silent tiled tomb. It's one of the most haunted locations on the ship. But unlike many haunted places, the Queen Mary hides her ghost in plain sight. No chains, no bloodstains, no flickering candles or dusty portraits, just echoes. Something behind the echo. For nearly 80 years, reports have come over and over about that room. Visitors, staff, skeptics, believers, they've all seen and heard things, felt things. You know, Jackie is really interesting. Jackie is, like, again, she's supposed to be a little girl, no older than 6. But no one knows who gave her that name. It just kind of emerged, like it whispered into someone's ear. And she'd been seen by many people standing at the deep end of the pool, wearing a faded one-piece bathing suit. Sometimes her hair is wet. It's matted to her face. Others, she's dry. And no one ever sees her fall in, but they often hear her voice before she just appears. A giggle, a question. Some people have heard her ask, "Swim with me." Something more haunting. Other people have, listened to this. There was a report where someone was at the pool. They did a tour, and they claimed they heard, "Have you seen my mommy?" And then she's gone. No splash, no scream, silence. She never appears angry. Another phenomenal report. There's a woman in a green bathing suit, elegant, vintage, 1930s, same era as the ship, the Queen Mary. Several visitors have reported her climbing the small staircase at the shallow end. She walks slowly, like she's listening to something, and then she dives in the pool. There's no water, no sound. She simply vanishes. The moment her feet leave the ground, some witnesses say they've seen her standing still on the diving board that once crowned the deep end, just standing. Head tilted slightly, as if remembering something or someone, then in the blink of an eye, disappears. Security guards, especially those who have worked nights, report her constantly. Some even call her the diver. Others refuse to look directly in the diving area anymore, as if so is doing an invitation. You know, the spirits of the Queen Mary don't just show themselves, they press themselves into the space around you. You can feel it. Cold spots around the pool in the middle of summer, not just cold air, dense cold, like bone deep. It moves with purpose. Some guests report the sensation of wet fingertips, even touching their ankles when they walk past the pool room. Others describe hearing something swim beneath, and like they actually hear it. In the 1990s, a tour collapsed in the room. She described overwhelming pressure in her chest, and she heard a disembodied voice that said, "Get out." She left the ship that night. She never came back. There are shadows, not illusions, not reflections, shadows that move when nothing else does. The cleaning staff has long reported seeing figures dart along the upper balcony where the lifeguards once stood. And one janitor closing down late one evening after an event saw a silhouette pace slowly along the far wall. And he thought it was a guest until the figure walked directly into the concrete and vanished. Some shadows crawl. There was one individual who said that there was one security guard reported seeing a shadow actually walking on the wall. Some stand perfectly still. But here's where it gets strange. Despite the dozens of eyewitnesses' accounts, despite the consistency of the stories, there's not a single official death tied to the first-class pool. Not one, no drowning, no accidental falls, nothing in the ship's logs, nothing in the press. It's as if these people just never existed. But how do we explain the consistency? Dozens, maybe hundreds of people over the decades describe seeing the same little girl, the same dripping sounds, the same cold breaths on their necks. And some of them didn't even know the Queen Mary was haunted before they entered the room. And still they described Jackie. They described the diver. They described the cold, the voices, the watching. How can so many strangers tell the same story over and over? As you know, so when you think about that, it's pretty interesting. You know, I've worked in this field a long time. I've seen walk through asylums, battlefields, cursed houses, empty hospitals. But this, I would tell you, I walk past the room area. It feels different. It doesn't scream. It doesn't threaten. It's like it waits. There's something about the silence. It's not empty. I think it's filled with energy. It's not evil, just watching. Very interesting place. Now, many guests of the Queen Mary may never make it that far. Once they get that, they're out of there. But the first-class swimming pool is officially off limits, closed to the public. There is a ghost tour, however, that you can go and you can be with that group. The doors were once grand, heavy wood framed and brass, and now they're scratched, tarnished, almost as if like something on the inside wanted to get out. But a lot of people say that who've been there, the air changes. It's cooler, stale. It feels like something is moving just out of sight. I unfortunately, I would love to have gone in. So the pool, again, is empty of water, but not in the presence. Now, people report that it's very quiet in the pool area, not peaceful. You know, the silence presses against people's chests like a second heartbeat. It pulses irregularly. And everybody who's talked about the pool have said you feel like something is watching. But the pool is not the only thing. There's the dressing room. So if the pool is the heart of that location, then the dressing rooms are its lungs. See, behind the main chamber, past the stone archway and a appealing first-class ladies changing area sign is where the living once changed their clothes. Now it's where the dead change their shape. So when you enter, people say that the atmosphere seems completely changed. It's instantly colder. Not like outside cold, not air. It's a different kind of chill, a personal cold, like that sinks beneath your skin, always stays there. These dressing rooms were designed for privacy, obviously. Individual stalls, each with its own wooden door. Some are half open, others hang crook on their hinges like forgotten moths, you know. But there are no windows, and the only light is the one you bring in. Of course, they have lights there, but the space is claustrophobic. Walls are tiled in white, not stained yellow. Now, well, there's some that are stained yellow with decades of salt and decay. Each stall tells a story, and there's no breeze, no airflow. It feels like it's moving. It's really strange. Now, this is what paranormal investigators call a residual haunt. So a lot of people talk about residual haunting in this room. For centuries, ships like the Queen Mary have been regarded as vessels of mystery, places where the Lying between the living and the dead blurs. Stories of the unseen are whispered behind closed doors. And where the restless spirits still roam in cold, dark corridors on her decks. Now the question is, are you brave enough to seek her out? Stand where the shadows have danced for decades. To sit in the ghostly silence, listen for whispers only the haunted can hear. I encourage you, if you have not done so, you might want to check it out. The Queen Mary is an interesting location. Let me tell you this story. One of the most whispered stories among the crew is about a lone passenger who checked in the B340. She was traveling alone, eager to escape her past, or as the hours ticked by, she refused to sleep. Just past midnight, her voice was recorded on a ghostly EVP saying she saw something. A figure standing at the foot of her bed, whispering, calling her name, a faint echoing voice spectral whisper. What did the EVP say? Come with me. Now, this is urban legend, to be fair, but I have talked to a couple of crew members, and they've heard of the story. The next morning, she vanished. Belongings left untouched. No one ever saw her leave. Face was seen in many ghostly photographs taken over the years. Some say she's still wandering the ship's darkened halls. We simply don't know. Maybe some people say that she was an apparition herself. We simply don't know. But whatever it is, we know that she checked out. Now I'm going to tell you my story, because it's quite interesting. So, as I mentioned earlier, when I got here, I went to B340, and when I went into the room, I felt definitely energy. No question, there was energy there. It felt like walking in almost like a time portal. And we could easily argue because there's so many trigger objects. Trigger objects are objects, oh, thank you very much, that coincide with perhaps like the 1930s. So like a bed from the 1930s, a couch, or whatever it might be. Those are all trigger objects. So as soon as you walk into this, you're kind of taken into this different time zone. And you feel it. They did a great job with that. They really did a great job with it. And again, I heard that knock. It was not long at all. As soon as I got there, I remember unzipping one of the bags, lifting the lid, and those 3 knocks. My door was open. And there was a hallway. So there was no way someone could have knocked and ran out of sight because I looked around, I looked back immediately. There was no one there. There was no one. Yeah, it was 3 knocks, 3 very clear, distinct knocks. And as soon as I heard the first knock, I looked and there was nothing there. So I know it wasn't anyone playing a joke or anything like that. But it came from the door to the room that I entered, and the door was wide open. So someone had to have reached in. I would have seen it. Now, the cold spots, I did get quite a few of those. When the REM pod went off, there was the hair was standing on the top up there on my arms. It was like in the back of my neck. Like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. So that was fun. That happened twice. That was live on TikTok. So I decided it was time. I was up very, very late. And it was, I think, 3 a.m. California time, which would have been 6 a.m. my time in Kentucky. So I was up quite late. And so I said, okay, it's time. I got to go to bed. And I did a little prayer. And my little prayer was, look, I'm not here to harass you. I'm not here to if you would do me a favor, I don't want to be harassed. And but I didn't feel anything nefarious. I just said, I don't want to be harassed. I'm really tired. I really need to sleep. So I'm in your domain. I'm a guest, but I just ask you, please, just don't, let's not do this because I'm tired. Uh, so when I was putting the things away, I looked to my right. I was putting some clothes in the bag, and I was at the foot of the bed at this time. The door was closed, and the bathroom door was open, and I closed the thing. I looked up and I saw an elderly woman, very clear, very clear. She had, I don't know if she was maybe a maid, and I need to ask the crew about this because it looked like she had a black, like an outfit on or dress, and like I don't know what you call it, a little thing that a wrap around your waist, like the old things where it doesn't get the dress dirty. I don't know what the term is. You guys might know. It's an apron. I'm naturally blonde. She had a little apron. It was gray. It was a color. I could see the colors, and she did not have it. She was not. Her hair was up, kind of like rolled, gray. She was She was older. It was gray, and it was kind of rolled up in a bun. And she just looked at me, smiled, just smiled. That was it. That was it. She disappeared, and I thought, oh, but there was no aggressiveness. It was a very sweet, kind. I saw full body apparition. Yeah, that was a full body apparition, and she was right. She was standing right in front of the bathroom. So you got to open the door to go obviously to the bathroom. But yeah, I could clearly see her right there, and that was pretty impressive. However, I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel threatened at all, and I was just tired. I needed to go. So I went to bed. I have a fan. I told Judy, I said, Judy, and I've got to have a big fan. I've got to, when I sleep, it's got to be the Titanic fan. It's one of those great big. So I got one of those. We got one of those fans, and it didn't get hot. It didn't get cold in the room because it was, like I said, that room is hot all day. But it was so. But I think later on it got a little colder, and so I got another blanket and I put the blanket on and I went back to bed. But I still thought of that lady. I still thought that was really cool. So I went to sleep. Now I'm telling you that this was so neat. So I sleep on my side because I have stenosis. When you have stenosis, I can't sleep flat on my back because then the pain radiates through my leg and it feels like it's on fire. So I always sleep on my side. Well, I was sleeping on my side, and I woke up, no doubt about it in my mind. It was as if no, it was not as if someone, so I was sleeping here and the blanket was here. Someone lifted the blanket. I could feel it clear as day and put it right here on my shoulders. And it's like they kind of tucked it in. And I thought, well, that's pretty damn cool. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, well, that was nice. That was my very first, I would take a lie detector test right now. Right now. But I thought that was nice. So I thank you. And I faded off to sleep. And apparently it had fallen down again. It lifted right back up and put it right here on the shoulder. And I felt a pat. 1, 2, just like that. Just like that. And it was like I was being tucked in. That's exactly what it felt like. And I just smiled. I thought that is so cool. So when I experienced that, I'm going to have to ask. One thing I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I'm going to ask, has anyone ever experienced, that? Because when I had that happen, it was twice. It was very, very clear. If I absolutely felt the cover being picked up and put on my shoulder and tucked in. It was not frightening at all. It was not frightening. And as I went back to bed, I don't know how much longer. I don't know if it was an hour later or 2 hours later. I don't know. But I felt it again. Apparently it must have came down. picked up, put on my shoulders, and tucked in, just like that. That was so cool. See, to me, that yeah, I think yeah, it was tired. The maid tucked me in. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask. That's one thing that I wanted to ask the front desk if they've ever had any reports of that. It was comforting. It was not. Well, as far as why didn't I look, I wasn't scared. I was just, I was so tired. I was exhausted. And it was kind of, I thought it was a nice gesture. I thought it was a very nice gesture. But I remember that tucking in once. So when you lift it up the first time and just kind of tucked it in. And I thought, that is pretty neat. And I was so tired. I was like, thank you. And then went back to bed and did it again and then tucked it in again and tapped twice. So that was a very neat experience that I had. And as a matter of fact, in the diary, so everybody who stays in room B340, they write, what they experienced and, what they had. And I wrote that in. It was really cool. It was really cool. I thought it was amazing. To me, yeah, I didn't hear best at bedtime. Yeah, I blessed it. I blessed it. As soon as when I went into the room, I heard the knock and I looked, there was no one there. I said, okay, you know what? I need to do a blessing here. So I did a blessing. Well, it's interesting. I did a lot of screenshots. I took a lot of pictures of the diary. And when I do the documentary, you will see some of these, some of the diary entries. And so you'll see that in the documentary. Now, of course, I'm going to take out, obviously, the person's name. But the only people that can do the diary are the people who stay in room B340. So when I do this documentary, I'll put them up on the screen so you can see them. Take out their name for obviously respect, because many people put their actual names in there. So it's that was so cool. So, yeah, you guys should see it exclusively. Well, it'll be in the documentary when I create that. It's going to take a little bit. Now keep it. Oh yeah, the Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill also listen to this story. So I spoke to one individual who came here, and they were walking up the stairs, and there's like a little sitting area, and they saw Winston Churchill very clearly. He was the Prime Minister of England during World War II, and smoking his cigar. He loved his cigars, and they told him you can't smoke in here, and he stood up and he walked right into the painting and disappeared. Now that I wish I could see that, because I'm a huge Winston Churchill fan. I would love to see Churchill. So maybe I'll see Winston Churchill tonight. Maybe, who knows? That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I would love to see that. Mm-hmm. Well, he had a particular champagne that he liked. So that was very, very cool. But I tell you what, this place, it is just on it. When you're walking down the hallway, I could not help myself. Couldn't help myself. But I kept hearing the song, Midnight, da 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 da. You know that song? Da, 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 da. Let's see if I can find it. That's when you're walking down, you see it, you feel it. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Hold on one second. I swear, when you do it, it's pretty cool. It is so cool. We'll play it just for a little bit. Why not? Midnight and the Stars and You. Yeah, when you're walking down when you're walking down the hallways, I promise you, I see it. Yes. I do. I'm telling you guys, if you're ever here now, what's really cool is there's a big, beautiful ballroom And I had asked if I could go, into that and see it. And they said, well, unfortunately, they're setting up for an event. So they said that they don't think that's possible. And I understood. So I was walking around on the deck and I saw them setting up. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to ask them, can I please come in and take some pictures and video? They said, absolutely. So I was really excited about taking some pictures and videos of this beautiful ballroom. And let me just see if I can. I got probably, I don't know, maybe about 500 videos. So, God, it's beautiful. I'll show you a little bit. Yeah, let me show you a little bit. Okay, hold on one second. And I made a song about this, everybody. I made a song, Mr. Producer, of my experience. So, one sec. I'll show you some pictures. Yeah, I'll show you some pictures. Hang tight. I'm gonna find the ballroom. Oh, here it is. Oh, when you see this, you're gonna think this. Okay. Oh, no, don't delete it. Look. Oh. So tell me if you don't hear The Shining. Is that cool or what? I mean, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And here's a picture of it. I'm not going to show you everything because you guys got to wait for the documentary. There you go. Yep. That's called Midnight from The Shining. This is the fireplace. I'll show you guys. And let's see, I'm showing. Oh, here's a much bigger picture from the fireplace. So TikTok. So this is in the grand ballroom. Isn't it beautiful? This is the ceiling. Oh, believe me, I was going to do everything I could to get in this room because it was locked when I tried to get in earlier. And I said, okay, I've got to get in here. So it was just, yeah, it's a beautiful place. I'm going to show you some more pictures. And then, well, I'll do some of your questions. Let's see. This is where apparently someone saw Churchill. That's the spot that they saw Churchill, or one of the spots. Oh yeah, I woke everybody up, didn't I? Oh, I don't know how I can turn that off. Let me see if I can turn that off so it doesn't make a loud. That scared the hell out of everybody. Okay, that was accidental. It was a okay. Whoops. So this is the diary. This is what it looks like. That's on the desk, a B340. So when you stay, that's the diary. And I can't, I'm not going to show you the names yet. Okay. This is the sitting room. That's in room B340. And let's see, I'll show you. This is when you walk in. So that's when you just walk in, you see the bed there. It's backwards. It should be on the other side. But that's when you walk in. See that? And I'm trying to find some. Oh, you know what? They're not going to get me for copyright. No, whatever. Nostalgia Radio, 19.
A lot of my time.
Okay, we don't care. Okay. This is the store of the little girl that a lot of people talk about. And that's the entrance to the store. That's the spiritualism shop. So you walk in there and they have a lot of items. I want to share. There was a weird heat source here that I could not explain. This is on the FLIR, right there on the top. And that's a cabinet. I could not explain why that heat source was there and around. That's just a cabinet. There's nothing there. No electrical wiring, no nothing, but there is a clear, without question, heat source. You see the purplish. See that? So what you see, that's a cabinet, and you see the strange discoloration. Isn't that pretty cool? And there was nothing there. There was nothing that would explain that at all. This is. Hold on, I will show you. I don't know why they would have this picture facing the bed. But I don't know if I didn't really like this guy. He's facing the bed. I mean, he's facing, your feet. It's like, dude. That's kind of cray-cray. Yeah, it is creepy. It's like, I mean, let's see. I want to show you some. I'm not going to show you everything because I've probably got 500 pictures, which is good. And let me go back here and show you when you walk. I'm going to show you when you walk. I don't know what the hell that is. I'm not going to show you that because that's going to wait for the documentary. Okay, I'll show you. This is about 17 seconds. This is inside the closet looking towards the sitting room. Okay, that way when you see this, I'm inside this weird closet space, looking outside. That's the sitting room there. What's that? So I'm inside that closet space there, looking outside of the sitting room. There's another one. This is the actual sitting room. Isn't that cool? And that's carpet. It looks like it's hardwood floors, sort of all the other video, but it's carpet. Yes, many people claim that that picture follows you. I didn't get that sensation. This is another picture of the sitting room. You guys are gonna love this documentary. It's gonna be so amazing. It's gonna be very, very cool. I'm showing. This is an actual original in the 1930s dresser drawer. That's also in the sitting room. So here you go. Isn't that cool? And so we've seen the sitting room. Okay, so when you check in, there are keys right there. They don't sell those keys. The only way that you can get that is you have to stay the night in B340. They will not buy. They will not sell that key at all. Because I was wanting to buy one for Judy Ann, since she did that, but that is rare. And that's the telephone, and that's the key that I'm referring to. So you have to stay the night in there, and then let me show you. These are the elevators. So there. Okay. It looks like this in a bigger picture. Okay. And another. So there we go. Okay. Oh yeah, this was very glamorous at the time. I mean, this was really cool. This is on the deck. I loved it because they actually had 3 boats. They had the Titanic. There's 2 other ones I forgot. But they were huge, gigantic. I'll blow it up so you guys can see it. This is on one of the decks. In a moment, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Inside those containers are big, I mean, gigantic models. And they actually let you see what it looked like on the inside of each ship. So let me blow this up. So like this would be the Titanic. See how they broke it up into rooms. And they had furniture in there and everything. See? And you could see what was considered first class, what was how it looked. It was pretty cool how they did that. The problem is there was such a glare, you can't really get a good picture at all. And let me okay, I want to show you. I'll show you. Hold on. That's what it looks like when you in the front. Okay, to give you an idea. So yeah, it's a pretty remarkable ship. And it's huge. It's a big ship. All right, I'm trying to find out if there's anything else. Okay, well that's the bathroom clearly, but this is where I saw that apparition of the lady. Right there, standing right in that doorway, not in the doorway going into the bathroom. So there's the bathroom, and she was standing clearly right there. I could see her because she was right in the doorway. I mean, you can't miss it. Can't miss her. So here is, she'll see it. There's the bathroom, and she was standing right there in the doorway. Okay. This is the bed. So this is in room B340. Let me show you guys. It's a little note on the bed. There's a little note that says, welcome, and this is an exclusive club for, B340 people. And you can get, you go to the little place over there that says alcohol, and you give them a special code, and they give you a special drink that only you can get. I'm like, well, I don't drink, so it won't work. And okay, this is, so this is inside the room here, and this is the sitting room. I'll show you guys in just a moment. I'm basically at the foot of the bed. So I'll show you guys. And that's where I was last night when we did our live. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, this is it's a neat place. It's a very, very neat location. And I'm trying to find some pictures that were kind of like, dude, that's just, okay. I'll show you. One. Don't ask me why. This was inside the closet. The closet was like weird. It's like, what the hell is this? I'm gonna show you. But that's pretty weird. But this is not the weirdest. It's a baby doll, TikTok. It's a baby doll. I like that. It's like, now I don't know the history behind this, so I'm thinking that perhaps maybe it's obviously a child with a Halloween mask. But yeah, there's some other ones that's like, no. There's one I'm not going to show you because you're going to have to wait until the documentary. That picture, I don't know what the hell this thing is. Oh dear God, yeah, I just blew it up. Sorry, you guys gonna have to wait. Sorry. That's the way it goes. But overall, yeah, it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do now is in a moment we're going to be wrapping things up. Oh my gosh, it's already 5:40. And what's Mr. Bruce? Oh yeah, it is. So what we're going to be doing here soon is we're going to be wrapping up because I need to go outside and I need to do some more filming on the exterior of the ship, so that when we put a documentary together on 4, because we're going to do 2 documentaries. The first documentary is B340, and then the next documentary is actually on the ship itself, where it's so much. I mean, you could easily do 3-4 hour documentary on this. Well, Bible study, we're going to do Bible studies on Sundays. Yeah, Bible study is going to be happening. I'm not canceling Bible study. Right now, Wednesdays, I'm not so sure about that, but oh well, thank you there, Mary. Thank you. It's very nice of you. So but I will, yeah, so Sundays we're still going to have the Bible study. Now I've got to remember though, I can't forget that I'm at a time difference. So check out here is 11:12, and then I'm going to go to my other hotel on Sunday, and then of course, unpack and get things ready for Bible study. So no, will I be on later on tonight? I might. Well, thank you. I might be live later on tonight on TikTok only. So, but as far as the other time, we'll see. Just kind of make sure you have your notification. Yeah, I don't want to cancel Bible study. I just don't. Now, keep in mind, everyone, I'm at the complete and total mercy of the hotel's Wi-Fi. So. Oh, and there we go. And Sister Tracy Ann's reminding everybody that they have the Rosary prayer Monday through Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. I am going to relax a little bit, but see, Bible study is something that is relaxing for me, and it's something that I love doing too. And when I don't do Bible study, I just feel, thank you, Ellie, I just feel, even night prayer, I just don't like not doing night prayer, but I can't. There's no way. I can't do night prayer and Bible studies. I can't. But I am going to do Bible studies on Sundays, and we'll see. Wednesdays, we'll see. But right now, definitely Sundays. Yeah, maybe the ghost will tuck me in, and you never know. But that was pretty cool. But okay. So for everybody else who's watching on all the other social media platforms, hopefully you've enjoyed this presentation. Now I'm really looking forward to putting this documentary together. And Judy Ann she is, I mean, she's an editor. That's what she does. And so I'm incredibly excited to see how she helps puts this together. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So looking forward to the documentary for B340 and for the Queen Mary. And so what I'm going to do now is just chill. I'm going to get in plain clothes and just go outside, do some exterior filming on the ship for the documentary, and go from there. That's what we'll do. So for those of you who are watching everywhere at TikTok, stay with me for a moment. Remember, I tell you always, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You're priceless. And don't let anybody tell you or convince you otherwise. Okay, everybody, I'll see you tomorrow. No, my days are almost up. Sunday. I'll see you Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bible study. Until then, good night.